This is wonderful. Whoa, we should do this every day. Every day we should greet our guests and have an announcement like this announcement that we're so proud to share with each and every one of you. I love the Be Bold t-shirts. Absolutely fantastic. As you can see, I'm wearing my Be Bold pin, and the Congressman, fortunately, a week or two ago when he came to our campus, used the word bold about Bay Path. He didn't even know that we were using the word, so it's great. But to begin our program, first thank each and every one of you for being here. It's certainly an opportunity for us to celebrate an extraordinary achievement. It was 3 weeks ago that I actually stood behind this podium, and I was joined by our very, very competent Congressman Neal to make an historic announcement. We had just received a grant from HRSA, and it was for $1 million for our physician assistant program at the master's level. It was the largest federal grant we had received to date. And now it gives me great pleasure to share with you that Bay Path has received another federal grant for $1,997,734. And this grant we will use over 5 years, and it has been given to us by the U.S. Department of Education. It is called a Title III grant, Strengthening Institutions Program Grant. So can you imagine standing here just a few weeks later and announcing now the largest federal grant we have ever received? Now here's what's even more remarkable. We are one of only 14 colleges in America to receive the grant. We are one of 2 private institutions in our country and the only one in the Northeast in total. Can you imagine that? Let's give a cheer. So, before I talk about the transformational nature of this grant for Bay Path College, there are many people that I wish to recognize and then thank, because how do you create such an incredible grant without the help of so many people? First, I'd like to introduce and thank Roberta Bolduc, the chair of the Board of Trustees in our Bay Path pink, right here in front of me. We have, I see her, Pat Pierce, who is the chair of our investment committee. Keep those investments strong, Pat, a member of our Board of Trustees. Is Tricia Marchant here? I don't know if Tricia's here today, but she said she was going to be coming. But I do have 2 brand new members of our board who are here. In fact, they're here for their orientation. I'd like to introduce you to them. Dr. Estella Lopez, who joins us from the state of Connecticut. And Jeannie Young, who is the chair of our advisory committee and council from Mass Mutual. We had 2 grant consultants that helped us. They could not be with us today, but we have to recognize them. Kathy German and Phil Sabata. They did a remarkable job helping us and guiding us through the process. But it takes a village, as I wrote to all of you in my email, to create and write a grant. And virtually every single area of the college was involved in this process. So I am deeply grateful, and I wish to acknowledge all of you that took part in this grant. But I especially would like to acknowledge the project team, under the very able and skillful leadership of our provost, Dr. Melissa Morris Olson, who you will hear from in a few moments. Melissa. She brought life to the proposal. She ensured its success, but she had a great team behind her. And I'd like them to raise their hands as I state their name, because month after month, week after week, they were there at the table creating the very notion that became the best grant in America. Karen Hoban, our Vice President for Planning and Student Development. David Demers, our Vice President for Academic and Administrative Technology. David. Attorney Ann Dobmeyer, who's our Dean for Research and Student Learning. Dr. Gina Joseph Collins, our Dean of our School of Adult and Professional Studies. Where's Gina? Right up around me, I see her. Dr. Michael Koenig, who is our Dean of our Liberal Arts and Sciences School. Michael's back there. Dr. Chris Barnett, Associate Dean of the School of Arts and Sciences. Lori Cirillo, our Director of Career and Life Planning. And last but not least, a woman that probably has a few more gray hairs since she was overseeing the entire process. She's right up there, Janine McVeigh, Director of Corporate and Foundation Relations. But I said it takes a village, and so the others who were very close into this process were Mike Gianpietro, our Vice President for Finance and Administration, right here. Dr. Kathy Burke, our Vice President for Institutional Advancement. Dr. Jeffrey Mills, our Dean of our School of Management and Social Justice, right up there. Amanda Gould, our Director of Institutional Research. Where's Amanda? She's somewhere here. Michael Moran, oh, there's Amanda, our Director of our Libraries. Michael, there he is, right behind. And Rachel Alter, who really was tireless in this process. I'd like to thank her and all of you. There's Rachel. I'd like to thank all of you for your work on this grant. Give them another hoot and holler. For the duration of the grant, Dr. Melissa Morris Olson will oversee this enormous opportunity for Bay Path, and we are just thrilled about it. But why is Title III so important to Bay Path College? Let me just give you a few reasons. It will be transformational for this college, and for the students, most important, and for the entire region in which we work and in which we study. This is a 5-year investment from our government in Bay Path College, and it will help us expand our capacity to serve low-income students by providing funds to improve and strengthen the academic quality of all of our programs, and most important, help us build a framework that will help students complete college. With this assistance, we can uniquely serve our students, and not one student, but thousands of students. They will be impacted by a seismic shift that is going on in higher education and in the way Bay Path uniquely delivers higher education. Everything about this grant is student-centered, and you will hear more about the specifics in Dr. Melissa Morris Olson's comments in a few moments. At Bay Path, we call ourselves the new American Women's College for the 21st century. That's why we're wearing these bold t-shirts. Throughout our 115-year history, we have been a place where women have come to find themselves and each other. And there is one word that spans time and defines the essence of what is Bay Path. And that one word, which our Congressman used a few weeks ago, is bold. We are bold women. We have been, we are, and we will continue to be bold in higher education in our country. Why? because we are creating the new academic programs that are so relevant for the new America. We have programs that are relevant not only to the students here, but we are now global in our online education for undergraduate women. We embrace the neighborhoods in which we live and work in Western Massachusetts. And we know that with Title III funding, we will not only help the students of Bay Path, but we are going to help the region in which we study and the region in which we work. We are creating bold, new American women. And like our motto, Carpe Diem, these women will be able to seize all the opportunities that we will be able to offer them through this grant. And it is my sincere hope that these women will take these opportunities and extend them to all those that they will help, all those in this world in which they will make a difference. That is who we are. We are a bold, new American women's college. Carpe Diem, seize the day. We are again honored, as I said, to welcome Congressman Neal to our midst. He just was in a three-way contest for our congressional district in Massachusetts, and he won that primary, so congratulations, Congressman. Now, here is a man who has staying power because this will be his 13th year term in the United States Congress. And many of you know him because he is a man who never forgets where his roots are. My nephew, and I shared this with him last week, and he probably thought I was just trying to boost his ego, but it's true. My nephew, when I shared with him that we had received a HRSA grant and that we had just received another federal grant, he said to me, "You need to know the reputation Congressman Neal has in Washington. He is an individual, when he is talked about, here are the words that define him. First and foremost, he cares about his constituents. He works for his constituents, but he also works for America. He is well respected, and he is a caring individual. And it gives me a great deal of pleasure and honor to introduce to you now our Congressman, Richard Neal."
Thank you. Thanks very much. Thanks, Madam President, very much for those nice words of introduction. And I was pleased that you picked up on the word bold, because you always wonder what the takeaway is when you speak to an audience. And I've had, since childhood, a fascination with the application of words and how words are used to create imagery. And that obsession with the, not just imagery, but just as importantly, putting those words under the magnifying glass to see how they stand up. And I frequently embrace these nuances that are important with the use of words. And this, again, this obsession with the printed and spoken word that I've held to try to make a point, that when you embrace the word bold in terms of the nuance, one of the things I always think you want to do is to say, you can be bold without being abrasive. When you're in disagreement with somebody, you can singe but don't burn. You can be confident but not arrogant. And I think trying to embrace those applications of nomenclature become very, very important in an institution like this, which under the visionary leadership of President Leary has made such great strides, even through the course of a parallel in my career. And, you know, I've had this interest again in higher learning. I've been a long-time trustee at Mount Holyoke College, and I'm part of the 4 men who are members of the board. And at the same time, I've been a lecturer at the University of Massachusetts for a long, long period of time. And I want to tell you, based upon the success of this grant, great credit goes to those of you who put the application together, because that magnifying glass is pretty rigorous. And the Strengthening Development Institutions initiative is really meant to develop a creative partnership with the federal government, understanding that we don't know it all in Washington. But we want some bold experiments that might lead to new directions of learning. Now, arithmetic is a very stubborn thing. The unemployment rate right now for the college educated in America is 4.4%. The unemployment rate for those with a high school diploma is 8%. And the unemployment rate for those without a high school diploma is closer to 13%. Now, college is not for everyone, that's for sure. But at the same time, dropping out of high school ought not to be for a segment of the population any longer. And the strides that we made in America through the 40s and 50s toward a high school diploma in urban America is slowly being eroded. We're kind of going backwards with these numbers. And as you witnessed what happened recently in Chicago, one of the compelling statistics would be that 46% of the children who enter high school in Chicago don't graduate. Now, that number in big cities across America is probably fairly similar. So trying to figure out how to reach that part of the population becomes very important. But the Strengthening Developing Institutions initiative under Title III was provide you with a path to some experimentation. So all the goodwill and earnestness of your congressman can only be well met if the grant stands up. Because, again, I've met many times with the people who do the research on these applications in an attempt to get them to pay attention to certain aspects that they might not ordinarily measure. And we've had some luck from time to time. But you are not going to get them to embrace a bad application. Because for them, that's a career marker. And if it comes back to them in that sense, then it's a question mark on the rest of their career. So the grant application really has to be good. BayPath now has received, in the course of the last 3 weeks, $3 million of federal assistance. And I hope you'll have a chance to call some attention to some of the things that you're going to do with the grant, because it's going to allow faculty members as well to upgrade skills. It's going to allow students to embrace new components of learning. And it's going to allow the college just down the road to say, this is what we did with this federal partnership, and we're very proud of it. And based on what I've witnessed here today, one of the things you can be all confident of, we will be all proud of what you did. Continue to be bold.
Thank you, Congressman Neal. We are delighted that you are here with us for this celebration. I don't know what to say other than wow. This is truly extraordinary. And I am so pleased to have a few moments to speak about the Title III grant and the impact that the Title III grant is going to have for you, our students, but also for the region, for the community beyond our campus borders. Before I begin, I do want to extend my thanks and congratulations to the project team, again, for a job well done. I cannot begin to describe to you the countless number of hours that were spent last winter and spring in researching, in writing, in discussing, in rewriting, in tweaking, in analyzing, and finally compiling a document that would indeed change the direction of this college. And I am especially grateful to Janine McVeigh and to Kathy Burke, who literally touched every aspect of the proposal and ensured its success. When we finally sent the grant to the Department of Education, like many colleges and universities around the country, we had our fingers crossed, and we waited to hear, and we waited, and poor Janine, I don't know how many times we stopped her in the hallway and said, "Have we heard yet?" I don't think a week went by that we didn't ask her that question. And when we finally did receive the phone call informing us that we were indeed a recipient, there was a resounding cheer that went out from Deepwood Hall all the way across the campus. In fact, I think they could probably hear it in Springfield. And President Leary, I'm not sure I have ever seen you jump so high in the air as you did that afternoon after hearing and learning the news. For me personally, this was the most significant grant proposal that I've ever been a part of in my 30-plus years in higher education. And when we turned it in, I told Janine how very proud I was of the work that the project team and she had done, and that even if we did not get this grant, it would go down as the best grant that I'd ever been a part of. The creativity, the collaboration, and the community effort, all of this came together in a powerful way, and its spirit was reflected in that final product. And so all of us can indeed share in this success, and more important, our Bay Path community and our students, both current and future, will be all the better for it. So how will this grant make a difference specifically, and what will its impact be for our students, our faculty and staff, and how does this translate as a benefit to our region and even country? Well, Dr. Leary has already talked about the transition that higher education is going through, from how students learn to the infrastructure that they need to stay in and complete their degree. And most simply, Title III will position Bay Path to address these issues, and in particular will focus on redesigning the general education core by integrating new technology and best practices in teaching. The general education core, as you know, is the gateway for learning for all Bay Path students. Before they even enter their program or major, because of Title III, they will have a highly individualized and customized learning experience that will be tailored to where each student is at in her learning curve. Title III will allow us to redesign these courses to create highly portable, technology-infused learning experiences. Think of it as learning on the go. Isn't that cool? Experiences that will reduce the amount of formal seat time that you spend in classrooms and increase the relevance of learning for every Bay Path student. Number two, we will build on our innovative WELL program, Women Empowered as Learners and Leaders, an initiative that undergraduate students all take from first year to senior year, as well as the adult women in our one-day-a-week Saturday program. Thanks to Title III, we will be able to expand leadership development opportunities and be much more intentional in creating and supporting a clear career and life pathway for every one of our students. And finally, Title III enables the development of a learning commons, a place that will be both virtual and space-bound, and which will pull together all of the academic and student support resources that are so vital to helping a student complete her degree. Education is America's future. It was education that transformed American society at the turn of the 20th century, helping us to emerge as an industrial and economic giant, and eventually to become a world leader. At the dawn of the 20th century, Egyptian poet Hafez Ibrahim said, "When you educate a woman, you create a nation." Well, as the new American Women's College for the 21st century, we recognize that the cause of women's empowerment has never been more important. Title III enables us to take our historic commitment to women's education to the next level, beyond merely investing in the next generation, to preparing empowered learners and leaders who will be thoughtful and competent contributors to the vitality of our region and ultimately to the global knowledge-based economy of the 21st century. Now it is my pleasure to introduce Bay Path student and Student Government Associate President Nicole Magazzini.
Hello. My name is Nikki Magazzini. I'm from Montgomery, Massachusetts, and I'm a biology major here at Bay Path College. As the current Student Government Association president, I'm here representing our students. Title III is going to have a huge impact on all of us here at Bay Path. I have already seen a difference in our students just in the first year of that WELL program. More programs like that is what's going to make this grant so special to us. I know that it's going to produce stronger leaders and young women who know their full potential. And technology, we talked about that. This is how we communicate. We all have iPhones or smartphones or iPads. This is what we do. This grant is going to allow education to connect to our students even more. Finally, as a first-generation college student, I know that you often need that extra support to make it to the final day and the reason we're all here, graduation. Title III is going to make Bay Path even stronger than it already is with the support given to its students. In fact, this May, I will walk across the stage and get my diploma here. And I hope to go on to graduate school and become a physician's assistant. Bay Path has given me the tools and the confidence I need to make that big step. And this grant will allow others, countless others, to do the same. So thank you, sir. This is for you. We have a gift for you. And you have to open it.
If you're wondering what's on the Congressman's mind,
You know those snakes
I
in a
won her
can?
hometown last week. Carpe diem coffee. Thank you.
Carpe diem coffee, everyone.
Thank you very, very much. Nicely done.
Thank you.
Well, I'd like to thank all of our participants in our program today because they did a wonderful job describing the grant and congratulating everyone. Nikki, you are an excellent representative of a Bay Path education. And we know that all the women around this wonderful atrium with their Be Bold, Be Bay Path t-shirts will follow in those footsteps, Nikki. Thank you all for being here. It is an extraordinary, historic day. I don't think I've ever seen so many of us celebrate such a grant, such a transformational grant for Bay Path. And we invite you to have some cake with us to celebrate even more. Thank you all for coming.